The colony of Orion 6 always smelled faintly of iron and soil, the legacy of machines grinding the raw world into something habitable. Crops waved under thin domes, children ran between pressure gates, and for a while it felt as if humanity had outrun its past. Commander Adeel Raza stood on the station's viewing deck, arms folded, watching settlers argue cheerfully about water quotas. He allowed himself the rarest luxury: hope. That hope cracked with the first sensor alarm. Red sigils bloomed on the tactical hollow, far too many to count at once. Ships, sleek, dark, alien, slipped into orbit like sharks around a bleeding whale. Adeel's jaw clenched. He had seen fleets before, but not like this. "Commander," whispered Lieutenant Samira, pale under the shifting glow, "it's the Zerakai." Entire battle group. The room hushed. Even the air recyclers seemed to hold their breath. Memories burned through him. Earth's oceans swallowing cities, his family lost in the riots that followed. He had sworn never again, never to let humanity cower at the mercy of the powerful. Not while he breathed. Outside, the settlers gathered in the square, staring upward as the alien silhouettes blotted the sun. Some wept. Others shouted for surrender. One man screamed, "We're farmers, not soldiers. What can we do against them?" Adeel walked out to meet them, his boots echoing on the steel. "I won't lie to you," he said, voice carrying over the restless crowd. "They have more guns than we can count. But we have what they'll never understand, Jurrat. Courage. If we run now, we prove them right. The humans are weak. If we stand, we show the frontier what we're made of." Before his words could settle, the sky thundered with a booming voice carried through every calm. "Kneel, humans," declared High Marshal XY Arthok, each syllable thick with contempt. "Submit to the Zerakai dominion, and you may be spared. Refuse and burn." The message ended, leaving only the low hum of machines and the quickening pulse of every man and woman on Orion 6. Adeel looked at their faces, saw the fear, but also the spark. He tightened his grip on the railing, whispering to himself, "They'll learn what frontier spirit really means." The colony's defense hangar was little more than a converted mining bay, cluttered with half-welded rigs, oxygen tanks, and the grease-stained tools of people who had never expected to fight a war. Yet here, among rusted frames and jury-rigged engines, Adeel's militia was born. "Commander, these aren't warships," grumbled Engineer Haroon, slapping the side of a gutted freighter. "She's held together with duct tape and stubbornness." "Then let's make that stubbornness lethal," Adeel shot back. His voice carried steel, though inside he felt the weight of every choice. The settlers worked without pause. Farmers welded mining lasers onto turrets. Children scavenged scrap to shield power lines. An old cargo drone was stripped and refitted with explosives destined for a suicide run. What humanity lacked in weapons, they made up with raw creativity. Hours later, the first wave came. Zerakai cruisers cut through the dark like razors, their hulls glimmering with alien alloys. Plasma bolts lit the void, searing against the colony's cobbled defenses. Orion 6 shuddered. Civilians screamed. "Now!" Adeel barked. For the shadows of the asteroid belt, the booby-trapped freighter lurched forward, engines overclocked. The Zerakai dismissed it as wreckage until it rammed a cruiser's flank. A blinding eruption tore through the alien vessel, scattering shards of molten armor across space. On the command deck, silence fell for a heartbeat. Then wild cheers erupted. "They bleed," shouted Lieutenant Samira, eyes wide with exhilaration. Adeel allowed himself the briefest smile. "Remember that feeling? They're not gods, just flesh in metal shells." But the victory was a spark in a storm. Dozens more Zerakai warships repositioned, their formation tightening, learning. Adeel knew this was only the beginning. He leaned over the console, sweat streaking down his temple. "They'll come back harder, smarter. And when they do, we'll be ready." Samira hesitated. He said at last, the words heavy as iron. Beyond the viewport, alien engines flared brighter, heralding the next strike. The line would hold, or would break with fire. The retaliation came with merciless precision. At dawn cycle, the Zerakai fleet swept low over Orion 6, plasma bombardments scorching the outer settlements. Domes cracked, crops withered to ash, and screams carried across the comm channels. Adeel stood at the holodeck, fists pressed against its surface, listening to casualty reports roll in. Numbers. Just numbers. Until he remembered every number was a face he had sworn to protect. Guilt dug claws into his chest. Samira's voice broke the silence. "Commander, if we keep losing ground." "I know." His reply was hoarse, barely human. He left the command deck and walked among the survivors. The air was thick with smoke and fear. An elder woman clutched his sleeve, eyes like burning coals. "Don't you dare talk of surrender, Commander. We came to this rock to live free, not to kneel." Nearby, a boy no older than 18 knelt beside a broken drone, welding explosives onto its frame. "If it flies, I'll take it right into their carrier," he said with a grin too reckless for his years. Adeel wanted to stop him, to tell him life mattered more than glory, but the boy's determination mirrored the fire Adeel himself once carried. Word spread quickly. Even after bombardment, the settlers were not broken. They patched hulls, sang rough frontier songs, and passed around stories of Earth's survival. If Earth could rise from ashes, so could Orion 6. Meanwhile, High Marshal HFY Sci-Fi prowled the bridge of his flagship, mandibles clicking with irritation. Why do they resist? They should break like all the others. His officers exchanged uneasy glances. Whispers of human defiance were spreading through the fleet, gnawing at discipline. Back on the colony, Adeel studied the tactical displays one last time. The Zerakai were pressing harder, their numbers overwhelming. Conventional tactics would end in slaughter. The only option left was madness. "The fusion core," he said aloud, more to himself than anyone else. "We could overload it, turn the whole station into a bomb." Samira stiffened. "That would destroy everything we built, and save everyone still alive." His voice was grim, but steady now. The guilt had hardened into resolve. Adeel raised his head, scanning the weary but unbroken faces around him. "We fight with what we have. We endure with what we are. This," he tapped his chest, "is our Jurrat. And it's enough." The room filled with silence. Not of fear, but of agreement. The plan was set. The end game had begun. The sky above Orion 6 burned with streaks of fire as the Zerakai descended for their killing blow. Their fleet filled the horizon, black silhouettes blotting out the stars. On the command deck, Adeel watched the tactical grid flash red. Every warning light screamed the same truth. They would not survive another direct assault, unless his plan worked. "Signal the militia," he ordered. "Get every settler on comms." Within moments, 100 shaky voices filled the channel. Farmers, children, mechanics, elders. Some coughed, others whispered prayers, but all listened. Adeel took a breath. This is it. They think today will end humanity on Orion 6. Let's prove them wrong. Don't give them silence. Give them your voices. Make them hear the frontier spirit. Across the open comms, laughter, chants, and raw defiance erupted. A farmer belted an old Earth ballad. Children shouted, "We will never kneel." The noise crackled into the void, reaching even the Zerakai frequencies. On his flagship, HFY Sci-Fi snarled as the chorus of human defiance filled his bridge. His crew shifted uneasily, discipline frayed. "Shut them out," he bellowed, but the damage was done. His soldiers had heard the one thing the Dominion feared, courage unbroken. Back on Orion 6, Adeel triggered the final sequence. Deep in the colony's heart, the fusion core groaned, building toward a catastrophic overload. The Zerakai flagship moved closer, hungering for the kill. Adeel gave the final order. Now, a crippled freighter packed with settlers' explosives darted toward the flagship, forcing it into low orbit. At that exact moment, the colony's fusion core erupted in a controlled detonation, a star's fury unleashed. The blast ripped through the sky, searing atmosphere, shattering Zerakai formations. The flagship reeled, its hull torn open. Flames and debris scattered as the once invincible fleet faltered, broken by the sacrifice of a colony that refused to die quietly. On the deck, silence fell. Then, slowly, the surviving settlers realized the Zerakai were retreating. XYR Thok's crippled flagship limped into the void, its commander unwilling to face more shame. Adeel sank into his chair, body heavy but spirit unbowed. Around him, cheers rose, ragged, disbelieving, triumphant. Orion, 6 was scarred, half in ruins but alive. And in the annals of humanity, one truth was carved deeper than ever before. You can outgun humans, outnumber them, outlast them, but you will never break their spirit.